Good evening. It's 6 o'clock on Monday, July 25th, 2016. Welcome and thank you for joining us tonight for the English edition of Aura News, where we bring you today's top stories translated into English every weeknight. In a tragic event today, a fire broke out in the dialysis department of the American Hospital, where 2 patients died and other patients, doctors, and nurses were injured by the fire. According to Toronto police, 2 patients had a conflict with each other, and one of them threw fuel over the other and then set him on fire. Flames spread quickly, helped by the medicines used for dialysis service in the hospital. There is also the suspicion that another person has died from asphyxia, but Toronto police did not confirm the information. The Minister of Health visited the hospital and stated that there will be an investigation to reveal the fire's cause. Also, the director of the Fund of Obligatory Health Care Insurances confirmed there was a conflict between the patients, but added that the situation is now under control and the patients are continuing with their treatment. The reason for the conflict between the patients is not clear yet, but witnesses and relatives say that the patients did not have normal behaviors because of some social problems. The injured are being treated in American Hospital 2 with the support of doctors from Mother Teresa Hospital. This event is one of the gravest in the health system. After last week's consensus for the judicial reform, the former Prime Minister Sali Berisha declared that the Democratic Party and the Socialist Movement for Integration are the groups that made the consensual reform possible. According to Berisha, the Prime Minister tried to destroy compromise for the reform and that the ambassadors fell prey to the Prime Minister's game. The former Prime Minister pronounced the Democratic Party as a winner that managed to destroy the Prime Minister's scheme to gain control over the justice system. Mr. Berisha praised the Socialist Movement for Integration, considering its role to be crucial for finalizing consensus. The Socialist Movement for Integration has played a crucial role. The SMI's steady stance in favor of consensus won this process. The Democratic Party managed to impose its condition thanks to the support of several institutions and of the international community. The biggest loser is Edi Rama, who from the first day tried to convince the Albanians and the international community that consensus was impossible and excluded the DP from consensual participation in the reform. Edi Rama did everything against consensus until the last hour before consensus was reached, declared Berisha. Prime Minister Rama answered, saying, "I have been in this parliament for 3 years, and now it's the first time I see you with a written speech, just like those false witnesses who prepared their speeches beforehand. Well done, because now that the constitutional package is adopted, you will need some written speeches. The reform continues, and who knows when you may be called as a witness in the future." The accusations between the former Prime Minister and the Prime Minister went further, warning each other of suffering the reform's consequences. "You will see how the prosecutors and judges who are related to you will be removed and justice system will be cleaned. You should listen to me, prepare some written speeches. You will need them," the Prime Minister said. "It's the politicians' turn after the prosecutors and judges. Prepare to go where Ponte is. You are hopeless," replied the former Prime Minister. The government bill to reduce the punishment for illegal possession of firearms down to 3 to 5 years in prison instead of 15 years sparked debates in today's plenary session. The Democrat MP Edward Halimi spoke against the bill, asking for strengthened punishment for the illegal possession of firearms. Mr. Halimi asked for a review of the law on firearms and stated that murders are being committed by people who have illegal firearms. The law on illegal possession of firearms needs to be reviewed. This is not only a problem for Albania. The citizens should be able to keep firearms, but with permission. Murders are not being committed by people who have firearms legally. A legal framework is needed for the firearms. Strengthened punishment will frighten people and make them think twice before they commit a crime, said Halimi. Meanwhile, the Minister of Justice spoke in favor of the law as, according to him, people who keep cartridges are being punished and not those who keep illegal firearms. There were also debates between the Minister of Interior and the Democrat MP Flamor Noka regarding the robbery at Rennes Airport. Mr. Noka declared it a state crime, while the Minister of Interior said it could have been prevented. Police asked the airport to take measures. The robbery would not have happened if measures had been taken, the minister said. For his part, the Democrat MP considered the security situation to be alarming. Albania's EU ambassador Romana Vlahutin has asked for the judicial reform to be implemented. From Kukës, where she held meetings with some local government officials and young people, the EU ambassador emphasized that the reform should be implemented as soon as possible, as the citizens want it. Ambassador Vlahutin declared that the closer Albania gets to the European Union, the stricter the requests will be. This is the biggest reform Albania has ever undertaken, and for this reason it should be implemented as soon as possible. I am convinced this will happen, not only because the citizens want it, and this cannot be ignored by politicians, but also because the closer Albania gets to the EU, the stricter the requests will be, she said. We are not talking about a law that remains on paper, but a law that will be implemented. It will take years to see its results because it is complex, but some things will be felt soon. The first part is that of vetting, and around 3 years will be needed to see the results. I would say that this is the biggest reform Albania has ever undertaken on its path towards the European Union. The EU diplomat put the emphasis on the reform's implementation, noting that now there is no way back. Assembly Speaker Ilir Meta has been invited to participate in the U.S. Democratic National Convention, held from July 25th through July 28th, where the Democrat candidate for U.S. president is expected to be declared as Hillary Clinton. The Assembly Speaker left Albania on Sunday afternoon, headed for Philadelphia to attend the convention. Sources told Aura News that the Assembly Speaker will hold meetings with high-ranking U.S. leaders during his stay in America. This is the 4th visit to the USA for the Assembly Speaker within 6 months. Mr. Meta is visiting the U.S. only a few days after the Albanian parliament unanimously adopted the judicial reform. Meanwhile, sources within the Democratic Party say that the DP chairman, Lulzim Basha, will also be present at the convention. Democratic Party Chairman Lulzim Basha sent a letter to the President of the Venice Commission, Gianni Bucicchio, expressing gratitude for the expertise given towards the judicial reform. According to the DP chairman, the Venice Commission's professional expertise and clear recommendations ensured comprehensive changes and improved constitutional amendments, paving the way to an independent justice system. In his letter, the DP chairman highlights that despite the numerous challenges and obstacles during the process, the Albanian opposition managed to have constitutional changes in accordance to Venice Commission recommendations. Professional expertise and clear recommendations of the Venice Commission provided comprehensive changes and improvement of constitutional amendments, paving the way to building an accountable judiciary independent of politics that fights corruption and organized crime at the highest levels. The Albanian opposition and Democratic Party have invested all their efforts so that these principles were respected throughout the process of the judicial reform. Given my personal commitment to guarantee full implementation of the final Venice Commission opinion, I am pleased to share with you the fact that despite the challenges and difficult obstacles throughout this process, the Albanian opposition managed to ensure constitutional changes in accordance with your recommendation, reads the DP chairman's letter. That's all for our English edition this evening. Please join us again Monday through Saturday at 6 p.m. for your local news in English. My name is Mari, and on behalf of Aura News, thank you and good night.